Hello and welcome to the Coastal Plains page. Coastal Plains fingers. So, starting with the Coastal Plains information at the top, the Coastal Plains was one of the richest regions in natural resources. Its fertile soil allowed it to have the most diverse plant and animal life. It had abundant, or a lot of, water resources, forests, and rich grasslands. Despite all the richness of the Coastal Plains geography, it actually contains some of the poorest tribes of Native Americans. The Karankawa, Coahuiltecan, and Attakapas tribes didn't have much, and eventually many became extinct. Very few people from these tribes still exist today. Even though the tribes were poor, and many did not survive to today, they still played an important role in shaping early Texas history. So scroll down and let's learn about the Karankawa, the Coahuiltecan, and the Attakapas. We see some pictures. Here we see fishers. Here we see, looks like a hunter. Here we see a lot of people, and we notice that not many of them are wearing a lot of clothes because it's warm in the coastal plains. So let's start with the Karankawa on the left. The Karankawa Indians no longer exist, but they played an important role in the history of Texas. The Karankawa was comprised of many different coastal tribes that joined together. They spoke a language called Karankawa, and only about 100 Karankawa words have been preserved to this day. The word Karankawa most likely means dog lovers. The Karankawa were known for keeping dogs, described as a fox-coyote breed. The Karankawa didn't have a lot. They moved from place to place, searching for food by hunting, gathering, and fishing. Fish and turtles were their primary diet, but they also ate plants and other animals. They made boats by cutting down a tree and hollowing out the inside. They built movable homes called wigwams out of grass and mud. They hunted using a long bow, and they made baskets and pottery. Men wore breechcloths, or a short flap of fabric that hung around their waist in the front and the back. They also painted their bodies. For celebrations, they held mitotes. These celebrations included dancing and alcohol, and often wrestling. At the bottom, there are pictures and a video, but save that for later. Scroll up, or actually, pause. Go to your assignment B. Use the information we just read, and try and take your notes about the Karankawa. Click pause here. Hit play when you come back. Welcome back. The Coahuiltecan. The Coahuiltecan Indians were not just one tribe, but hundreds of separate small tribes who shared similar characteristics. Most natives within this tribal group shared the same language called Coahuilteco. Most of these tribes were a combination of farmers and hunter-gatherers. They farmed mesquite beans, prickly pear fruit, pecans, acorns, and roots. They hunted deer, armadillo, rabbits, rats, lizards, snakes, frogs, and fish. Quite a diet. Like the Karankawa, the Coahuiltecans didn't have much, and when the Europeans arrived in Texas, the Coahuiltecans got pushed out of their home area. Reports from Europeans who met the Coahuiltecans stated that they wore breechcloths and they painted their bodies. The Coahuiltecans built domed huts out of grass mats and flexible poles from trees. They made trips to hunt buffalo and deer. They also gathered wild fruits like prickly pear, and they ate insects, frogs, and spiders. Yeesh. In difficult times, they practiced female infanticide, which is the killing of infant or baby girls because they weren't considered as useful to the success of the tribe. They didn't do this to be ugly and hateful. They did it when there wasn't a lot of food because females at the time weren't believed to contribute as much as males. Thank goodness times have changed. So push pause. Go back to your assignment B. Fill in the notes on the Coahuiltecan people. When you're ready, come back and push play. Did you do it? Did you do it? All right, let's keep going. The Attakapas. The word Attakapas means eaters of men. It is believed that they practiced ritual cannibalism of their enemies. They believed people eaten after death were not able to pass on to the next life. There is evidence that Attakapas warriors possibly ate the flesh of their enemies that they killed in battle. Don't mess with these people. The Attakapas lived in small bands of Indians who traveled together hunting and fishing. The alligator was an important food source for them. They used the alligator oil as an insect repellent, and they used alligator skins and meat. The Attakapas traded with other native groups as well as with the French and Spanish when they arrived. Most information we know about the Attakapas has come from the Europeans who encountered them. These reports stated that they were short with dark skin. They dressed in breech cloth made from buffalo skins. In Attakapas culture, a father would often rename himself at the birth of his first son. Attakapas religion believed that the Attakapas people came from the ocean. Pretty cool origin story. So next, let's look at some of these pictures. The first picture you see on the image carousel is a picture of Texas with the part along the coast highlighted in blue as Karankawa territory. The next picture is an image of a coastal tribal man. You see the breech cloth hanging around his waist and a bow and arrow in his hand. Here is a hollowed out boat made from the trunk of a tree. The next one is some beads that they made and put on necklaces that they would wear. Karankawa facts. They were much taller than the other groups of Native Americans. Their average height was over 6 feet tall, which for back then was crazy tall. Now 6 feet tall is still pretty tall, but back then it was like, you're a giant. Here is a map showing where the Coahuiltecans, the Karankawa, the Attakapas lived along the coast, along with other tribes in the rest of Texas. The Karankawas were powerful runners and swimmers. They played competitive games, and wrestling was very popular with them. So they were very fit and active. Here is an image of coastal tribes people living on the coast. One man is weaving what looks like some sort of cloth. Some are sorting out items on the ground, and you see dogs around them. So this must be the dog lovers. Coahuiltecans were nomads on the southern coast. Their diet included deer and rabbits. They gathered nuts, berries, cacti, insects, and roots. Most of the plants that they ate were known for their toughness and endurance. And some of those plants are still eaten in Spanish society. Here is a coastal man, another coastal man. And here is the beginnings of the makings of one of their grass and animal skin huts. And I think we're back to the beginning. Have we seen these? There's a breech cloth. Here is a modern day historical site. Here's one of their small grass hut houses. Here's where the Attakapas lived. There's an image, a drawing of them. And now I think we're back to the beginning, maybe. Yeah, okay. All right, next you'll look over here and see this video called Modern Day Coahuiltecans Talking About Their Heritage. I highly recommend you watch it. It's really interesting. It's Native Americans today taking you on a quick hike to some caves where the ancient Coahuiltecans did cave drawings, and they explain what those cave drawings mean. Pretty cool. Take a look at it. Go to your assignment B afterwards, fill in the information on the rest of the page. For my advanced kids, don't forget to go underneath your notes and answer those questions. And then I'll see you on the next slide or on the next page for the Great Plains. Check you later.